Hallo meine lieben Freunde, was geht, was muss, was guten Tag, es ist dein Lieblings-YouTuber James Bray und ich reagiere heute auf the rise and fall of the rise and fall and the rise and fall of Germany. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of you guys sent me this link and I am going to be checking that out today. If you guys are new to the channel, willkommen. If you guys are returning viewers, willkommen zurück. We post videos every single day. Oder jeden Tag. All I ask is that you guys abonniert diesen Kanal und like the video. Bitte, vielen lieben Dank. Really means a lot. I'm actually teaching myself German, and it's been a very interesting process. It is a bit schwer, you know, but I'm getting better with it on the daily, you know. I have been learning through Babbel, through Discord, a bunch of different means, and it's been absolutely amazing. So let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and dive nose deep into this thing and see exactly what we're working with. And as a wise man once said, los geht's.
Austria and 37 small independent German countries. Napoleon had left Europe in an awful mess, so when he lost, the victorious met in Vienna to fix the borders that he'd thrown all in disarray.
Alrighty.
This Congress of Vienna wasn't a punishment like a certain treaty a century later would be to Germany, but instead to restabilise the continent once more by drawing out the spheres of influence, balancing enemies and allies with
the literal spheres of influence. All these circles that are dressed up as countries.
and against each other. And this worked for a while. The fixed borders and disincentives to war meant that those with ambitions to conquer an empire turned their ambitions elsewhere, to other continents. But there was one fractured region in Europe that was not particularly well balanced, and the two intended balancing powers didn't have overseas colonies on which to take out their frustration.
Oh dang.
That region was Central Europe.
Central Europe, aka mother Germany, you know what I'm saying?
That aforementioned Austria, Prussia.
Oh, the aforementioned Austria, Prussia, and those 37 smaller independent countries.
Those 37 smaller independent German countries.
German countries.
The war that eventually happened had been the result of a centuries-old rivalry between the two dominant German powers.
Jeez.
And the result of the war was mostly
Prussia and Austria.
down
That's
to
crazy.
4 factors: the existing political order, Central European geography, the Enlightenment, and Italy.
Interesting.
Prussia and most of the small states were situated in an area of Europe with few natural barriers. Now, while this could make you vulnerable, as the many partitions of Poland can tell you, the way German states behaved was part of what preserved the relative stability of the region despite it being in almost 300 pieces for a millennium.
Jesus Christ. That's crazy, man. Honestly, I feel like Germany in general just went through so many different transitions throughout history. It's insane, bro. Like, completely different than what it was in the past. I mean, through events that are about to be explained right now, but that's insane.
While individually these mostly city-states are vulnerable to outsiders, they recognise the need to band together, multiple times under multiple flags. Collections of states of roughly equal power, so none could really dominate, or at least that was...
That actually makes sense too. So that's probably why you have like, I mean, like things like the collective, like the CDU or something like that, the EU, and other organizations that kind of keep Europe like tied together, like, you know, like woven very tightly and stuff like that. So you know, even though there is kind of a disparity as far as a balance of power and stuff goes, sometimes I guess operating as a collective is probably better than operating as independent states, in my opinion. I don't know, maybe I don't know what I'm saying, but we're about to find out here, but let me know if I'm wrong. I'm normally wrong 99% of the time, so we'll see.
Theory. So Europe was a collection of states in a delicate balance of powers, and at its centre was a collection of states in a delicate balance of powers.
Geography.
In geopolitics, geography is everything. That's rivers, mountains, oceans, terrain, and where your borders lie in relation. Austria was a southeast-facing country with the majority of its land in that direction from Vienna. The branches of the Danube flowed through Austria away from traditional German lands.
Jeez.
The Alps and Carpathians mostly protected the core from invaders, but they also isolated Austria from its interests in the north and the west.
Oh, wow. So basically Austria was in its own pocket. I mean, it's always been in its own pocket, but it kind of prevented it from really making serious moves and stuff like that. So that's kind of crazy.
And its territories on the other side of the mountains. Contrast Prussia, a country wealthy with natural riverine connection, and none of those pesky major mountain ranges separating the political core from its wealthy and industrious
Oh, so Prussia had easy access is what you're telling me. Prussia had easy access.
region in the west, and as well as those rivers, Prussia also had a better artificial network. Modern canals had arrived with the Industrial Revolution, and together with the smaller states, Prussia had a national railway network before its major neighbours had even connected 2 cities. Austria was excluded from all of this because of its geography. These networks initially implied Prussia as the leader of Germany and isolated Austria.
Oh, dang. So Prussia's like, hey, listen, man, I don't see no Austria around here, man. It looking like it's just us. So we are the leaders of Germany, you know what I'm saying? Not goofy little Austria. Austria is just hidden somewhere on the mountains in a faraway land. We can forget them, okay? But nah, meanwhile, Austria's building up like a little superpower behind the mountains and stuff, man.
Germany was integrated culturally, economically, militarily, and bureaucratically around Berlin. And
jeez, I wonder if Berlin's still a major focal point of Germany. You know, like, I mean, whether that be a political move or economically speaking and stuff like that. I wonder if Berlin is still like a focus of Germany and stuff like that. I know there's a bunch of big cities in Germany, but I wonder if Berlin is an actual like iconic focus for Germany now, currently.
While Prussia was in the process of connecting, Austria was dividing.
Yee, Jesus, that's not good.
The Enlightenment was the culmination of a philosophical revolution that led in part to the idea of self-determination. With failures of political and economic systems across the continent, the traditional order had been collapsing piece by piece, and in its place, new schools of thought were to arise. Here's an example of how a pre-Enlightenment country worked.
Player 1 versus Player 2. Pretty sure Player 2 is France. Player 1 is, I don't even know what this flag is, bro. It looks like some dragon flag. You guys tell me what this flag is, bro. I mean, he probably about to tell me right now, but I do not know what this flag is. It looks like something out of like Game of Thrones or something, or like Assassin's Creed or something. Spain. That's Spain versus the Netherlands. Wow, I could not have been more wrong. Spain versus the Netherlands.
To pay all these taxes, I want to rule myself. While you're living in my house, Booster, you abide by my rules. What gives you the authority to decide what I have to do? God, you don't know what? It's written down in this book that you can read because it's in Latin.
Oh, it's like you got to listen to us because we know what the Bible says, but you don't. So shut your ass up and let us rule over you because your non-understanding self doesn't know what the Bible says, but we do. And then, Netherlands is like, well, shit, let us translate that bitch then. The fuck?
Trust me, I know it's in there.
One source
NWA. Wow. Netherlands with attitude.
a political philosophical revolution later, and people broke those rules, and the Bible was translated anyway. People could now directly read the Word of God and interpret it in their own way, which led to an explosion in different schools of thought and churches. The Catholic Church was no longer all-powerful, and the Word of God was no longer simply what you were told.
That's actually really crazy to think that one person had dominance over everybody else because one person was able to translate the damn Bible and understand everything, or actually just by default knew the language the Bible was written in. And they're like, well, since we know what it says, they can technically bend the word in their favor and have everybody listen to them based on what they choose to communicate to everybody else. So the Bible could have said something entirely different than what they were communicating to people, but because they understood the Bible and people had so much faith in the people that understood the Bible, they can now bend and twist the meaning to other people. As we've seen, the Bible's been translated billions of times, you know what I'm saying? Millions of times at least. And there's different interpretations with every translation, you know? Things get lost in translation. Things get added in translation. It's very crazy. And then things always get misinterpreted in translation. So absolutely insane, man.
People could think for themselves, and now they could rule themselves. And then later, the French and American revolutions were all about self-determination and religion in government. Now let's look back at these 37 smaller independent German nations. In all of this furore, wasn't it just time for the region to unify?
Facts, bruh. Just, why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, why can't we be friends? Go!
But around which of the two strong German powers would it be? Prussia or Austria? Let's compare. Prussia had great water and rail connections with the region. With Prussia, they shared a single common language. They were majority ethnic German, and Prussia had one of the strongest armies on the continent. Austria, however, was on the other side of the mountains, had 100 billion different languages across its territory.
100 billion languages across its territory, that's crazy.
Was rebellious and fragile from top to bottom, and was a country out of time.
Jesus.
In fact, Austria was lucky to still exist as a multinational country after the Congress of...
So basically, Austria was at a big-ass disadvantage. Prussia was just like, hey, man, listen. Y'all can stay the hell over there with your little issues and stuff. We got this, okay? We got this. Austria, in short, was struggling, bruh. Struggling.
Vienna. Most other new and reformed countries had abandoned the because God says so form of government and graduated to the nation-state self-determinism model. But not Austria. She married her way to the top, merging royal families and lands to build this empire.
Austria and Hungary uniting together.
And she wanted to keep it all after the Congress, and that she did. However, the Czechs, Slovaks, Polish, Hungarians, Slovenians, Italians, Serbians, Croatians, Bosnians, Ukrainians, and Romanians...
Hey, the Balkans, you know what I'm saying? The motherfucking Balkans, man.
...had different ideas that came from the Reformation and the Enlightenment. Ironically, one of the last places to unify in this period under the idea of the self-determined nation-state was perhaps the seat of philosophical thought in Europe, Italy.
Wow. Italy is it has an interesting past, man. Like, they're kind of wild, bro. Like, it's just very interesting to see how far Italy's come in, like, you know, just its involvement with everything, you know, everything up to this point. It's like, dang, Italy.
1866. Those Austrian lands that I mentioned earlier were on the other side of the Alps. Yeah, some of those were filled with Italians. That's a group of people who are currently...
I like how they put Mario in there. Wow. That's hilarious, bro. Tony Montana. A lot of famous actors, actresses, and philosophers and stuff. Like, that's cool.
Warring their way across southern Europe, unifying under their flag. And Austria was in the way. They fought 3 wars to unify their lands under the because we said so kind of government.
Oh, Jesus.
The first war didn't change much.
Nope.
The second war was a mild victory for Italy. The third war, however, came with incredible timing and was incredibly devastating to the future of Austria. The sweet relationship between Austria and Hungary that had worked for so long was souring.
Oof, dang. They got that strung out marriage, brother. Like, ugh.
A series of wars of independence had to be managed, and worst of all, Hungary itself was in revolt. Prussia, seeing a rising power in the south and the potential downfall of a rival for the German leadership, decided that they might as well consolidate their problems into one easily repayable continental war.
Might as
Austria
well.
was in no shape to lead anything by the end of the war.
Dang. Look how they did Prussia, bro. Prussia looked bogus as hell. Or is that Prussia or is that Austria?
Easily repayable continental war. Austria was in no shape to lead.
My bad. Austria was looking bogus as hell. I said Prussia. I meant to say Austria.
By the end of the war. Not the German Confederation, not Germany, and by this point, not even Austria. Hungarians made themselves equal in the empire, which now went by a different name. The kingdom and lands represented in the Imperial Council and the lands of the Holy Hungarian Crown of St. Stephen, or as we know it today,
Austria-Hungary. Wait a minute. Is Austria-Hungary an actual country, or like is it just Austria and just Hungary separately now? Like, I'm confused. Just
Austria-Hungary. Prussia easily scooped the remains of German Europe, and with a victory over France in yet another war, they declared the birth of the German Empire in the Palace of Versailles,
the Palace of Versailles.
Seat of power.
Crazy, man.
At this point, what couldn't Prussia do?
Prussia was unstoppable, bruh. Unstoppable. Unstoppable.
Was a shambles on a rapid descent in power and wealth. It was an absolute tinderbox ready to ignite at the flick of a trigger.
Damn. World War I. Jesus Christ.
World War One. And despite for some reason allying with Austria-Hungary, the pair nearly steamrolled all of Europe, fueled by German industry. For the second time in half a century, Germany capitalized over the internal volatility of a neighboring country to make significant territorial gains, making it as far as 1,500 kilometers from Berlin, and essentially winning in the east, making all of these gains real and official, at least for a few months. One Treaty of Versailles, one demilitarization, one hyperinflation, billions in reparations, one Great Depression, 2 decades of...
Bro, the reparations really did Germany dirty, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what took a strong hit on the economy and everything. I heard about that. That's crazy, man.
Economic and social turmoil, and still, again, the country was nearly able to steamroll Europe a second time in the 20th century.
Jesus.
One demilitarization, one
dang.
several occupations, one Cold War partition, half a century of separation, and then finally...
Yo, the whole world at World War II, man, it seemed like the entire world was against Germany, you know what I'm saying? Like, not the entire world, but the world outside of the Axis powers and stuff. You know, it was like, dang, like, because especially after the World War ended, people were just like, bruh, now what do we do? And then pretty much, you know, there had to be some sort of, like, I don't know, like more reparations and shit like that, and maybe just a reformation plan to get Germany back on track. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, bro, quit playing games. You feel me? But I don't know. History is very interesting, man. Like, there's so many powerful wars, shifts in power, people rising to power, falling from grace. You know. And it's kind of crazy to see how we all wound up in this exact point right now that we're in right now currently. It's crazy, bro. Super crazy.
And today, this country is stunningly, once again, the economic and industrial centre of Europe, and practically its leader. But not in war this time. That's bad, apparently.
Oh, wait. Angela Merkel. You know, her term actually ends in the summer of 2021, so... very, very interesting stuff, man. That's I don't know what's gonna happen after that, bro.
It's in the boardroom, on the leaderboard, the GDP rankings, the quality of life, and the football. France kept a permanent seat on the UN Security Council because a unified Germany was an incredible threat to them for a century.
Oh, jeez. So that's why France joined the UN. It's like, listen, man, we gonna have to secure a seat up in the UN because we do not want Germany doing what they've been doing to us for years and years and years. You feel me? We need to stand up for ourselves. Okay, like,
dragging France again and again into catastrophic bloodshed. Until today, France still maintain one of the most expensive.
Yo, I love how there's like the Grim Reaper over over France, and it says Guten Tag, Guten Tag, and then France is like, well, we meet again. What you want this time?
Until today, France still maintain one of the most expensive militaries in the world. They built the iron and coal community to make war unthinkable by tying their economies together and take access to Germany's vast mineral and geographic wealth. In a Europe without borders, that's the great equalizer, no? It turns out the Germans turned even that to their advantage.
Jesus.
The EU is a free and ready-made market. Germany is, as of 2016, by some measures, the #1 exporting country in the world, competing with China, a country 20 times the size.
That's crazy, bro. I thought size was everything. I thought, like, the bigger of a country you were, the more dominant you were. But that means absolutely nothing, as we've seen before. Absolutely nothing. Like, Japan and China had wars with each other, and Japan was whooping that ass. You feel me? Like, they were just whooping on them. I'm like, damn, but Japan is a fraction of China, like, as far as size goes, right? But size means nothing. It's all about strategy.
And there are things that Germany has coped with better than any other Western country. After World War II, there was somewhat of a labour shortage, which was apparently something to do with all the working age men dying in catastrophic bloodshed or something, and they plugged the labour shortage with Mediterranean guest workers. The potential collapse of the economy due to the structure of the welfare state and the ageing of the population that as of 2016 is taking its toll on Japan, Russia and Eastern Europe, soon to hit China and the West, and is being plugged in the Germany of the 2000s by citizens of the expanding EU, the best and the brightest of working age across the continent coming to Germany to work.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, the world's like, hey, bro, listen, we're kind of all going through it right now. Economically, so let's go work in Germany where the economy is great. You know, that made the economy even better, and look at Germany now. Yes. And actually, I have a quick question. So we are obviously still in the current pandemic situation. So is Germany in an economic crisis at all, or is this just the rest of the world? Because I feel like the rest of the world is, but it seems like Germany's doing just fine under whatever's happening right now. Just let me know in the comments down below. I'm very curious.
It's a steady stream of potential tax-paying skilled workers and, crucially, their consumers, paying for the pensions of the aging and retired Germans, spending their twilight years finding Lebensraum, this time on the sunbeds of the Mediterranean.
Just chilling, man. Basically, Germany do be kind of vibing though, man. Anyways, you know what I'm saying? That was a really good video. Thank you guys for sharing that with me. Brain for Breakfast. Go and subscribe to that channel. They make very informative videos, and they deserve as much credit as humanly possible. Learned a lot. The history is very, very intense, man. And I think obviously the reason why it's important is so that we don't repeat ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like in the future. But I feel like what's also crazy is people tend to intentionally ignore history, and so people repeat history anyways and stuff like that. And we've seen some events even like within the last few years that seem to be looking similar to other events that have happened in the past, at least in America, you know what I'm saying? So even if we do understand history, I guess really like enforcing the fact, enforcing its importance, you know, is very important in my opinion, at least. But you guys can let me know what you think about that. Let me know what you think about this video. Was it accurate? Did you guys like it? Did you guys enjoy it? Either way it goes, thank you guys so much for watching this reaction with me, and or I guess thank you for watching my reaction. I can't talk because your boy is waking up right now. I'll see you guys in future videos, and until the next time I see you guys again, bis später Leute. Hopefully you guys are subscribed at this point. You know what I'm saying? Ciao. Well, what a pleasure it is to see all of your beautiful faces at the end of this lovely video. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm sure you know, as I've mentioned in the past, we do have a Discord that's linked in the description down below, and we would love to have you a part of the world's greatest community ever, Bray Gang. Yes, if you've made it to this point in the video, you're officially a part of the community. So go ahead, join the Discord server. Link is in the description down below. And we also have other social media as well, like Instagram, Twitter. We're live. We go live on Twitch quite often as well. So it would behoove you to, you know, go ahead and subscribe to the Twitch channel at twitch.tv/JamesBrayGang. Join the cause and be a part of the greatest, literally the greatest community ever. Okay, it's simple. Just go ahead and do those little things. We're trying to grow on all these little platforms and everything, and it really means a lot. Now I know you guys stumbled up across the channel and you're like, what does this guy post? Like, what kind of content does he post? Reactions, vlogs, pretty much whatever comes to my mind. All right, it's random content. I don't know what I'm gonna be posting 10 years from now, but I do know that you can stick along for the journey, and it really means a lot. Now, for every single person that subscribes and follows all of the accounts that I have made, and all the links will be in the description down below, that's an automatic entry for any future giveaways I decide to have. I'll remind you when the giveaways take place, but you'll be surprised what I will be giving away because you guys have supported me so much up to this point, and it's only right that I do the same thing back. Thank you guys so much for being amazing, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Peace.